What's up, guys? Thank you for joining again today. This is how two planes managed to collide on each other during mid-air. Okay, let's rewind. This happened on July 1st. It was on Monday it was 2:02. Yeah, this was between Russian Air and a DHL. This happened. The Russian Air was carrying students who were going out for a trip to Barcelona. This is in Spain, and majority of those students actually were arts. They were good in painting. It was a school of art. They were to go for that trip on date 29 June. But unfortunately, that didn't happen since the agent who were to book the plane for them did book but give the long day and time to leave. When those school children arrived at the airport, they did find that the plane which they were to leave with have already left for Barcelona. So they were to hang around there waiting for another plane to be booked. It did not take long. After 2 days, the plane was found, and which was on date 1st July on Monday. This is 2002. Yeah, the plane allowed 11 p.m. The plane left for Barcelona, and the journey was amazing. The children are happy. They are going out for fun to enjoy. You see, this is a journey from one country to another. It's such a big thing for them, since majority of them, actually maybe almost all of them, have not left Russia since they were born. So by 11:45, another plane for DHL left Italy, going to their base on Netherlands. It was a DHL company. It's there. You see those planes which carry the DHL carrier, things like that. So it was left in Italy for Netherlands. So at one point, these two planes were to pass one another path on the journey. This was to happen on Germany. But this was not an issue, since these are modern planes which are equipped with TICAS. It's a traffic collision advanced system. This system uses LANDA, the plane radar, to help you if there is another plane which is coming in your direction. It will just warn you and tell you what to do. So that was not an issue to them at all. And the journey went on over and over. The Russian plane went over Germany until they reached the South Germany, the border of Germany and Switzerland. They were handed over to another control tower. Everything was okay. At this control tower, things, we can say the journey was kind of cast from there, because at that day it is on the night, and majority of the time that control tower of the night, they didn't have a lot of traffic, so they usually had few people working. At this night, there was only 3 people monitoring, Peter and other few people. And as the company policy, you are allowed to go to sleep in case it's on the night and there is someone who is waiting to take the control of what you are doing. So The other person who are working with Peter asked Peter to check for him so he can go and rest, come back later. And as usual, that's what usually do happen. So there was no reason for Peter to say no. Peter said, okay, I'll check. At this point, Peter have 2 monitors, which he is supposed to be checking and guiding them. Then after some few minutes, maintenance crew people came in and informed Peter that they are here for maintaining, and so he will have to operate at a very, very, very slow speed. Like it would taken him for like 2 minutes or 3 minutes for him to see anything which is happening on radar. Like whatever he is seeing at that time would be already have happened 2 minutes earlier. So Peter had no issue and told them it's okay, you can go ahead and do your things. After a few minutes, they came back and told him, okay, we also need to shut down the radar line, so you do not have a phone or telephone. You see, those work telephone. So Peter tried to argue with them, but they told him it's necessary. Peter agreed and let them do so. So everything is okay. Then there was another plane which came in between these two, and Peter was working so hard to try to make sure to give out that plane to another airport for assistance. Since he is overwhelmed by things here, he have 2 monitors to control, and now there is another plane in the plane. When he is trying to reach that airport, it was not going through. He tried to reach the airport through public line. It was not going through. So what Peter did, he told the pilot of that other plane that he is on his own, and he went back to address this Russian and DHL, because that was majority what he was supposed to be doing. This other plane just came in the picture. So Peter was guiding them correctly. Nothing was going on. But on Russian plane, they started receiving warning from TCAT that they should rise. And on the DHL, they started receiving also the warning. But all this time, none of these 2 pilots have seen the other plane. So what the Russian pilot did, called Peter and asked for help. And as we remember, Peter landing system is 2 minutes late. So he couldn't help, but he tried to help. And still this other plane which he was helping came also in the picture, and he had to help. So what Peter did, he asked the Russian pilot to hold on a little bit so that he can go and try to sort out this other mess. Then the DHL pilot called. Peter put the DHL pilot on hold, and the Russian pilot is on hold. It didn't take long for an air traffic controller in central Germany to realize this will be a catastrophe. He tried to contact Peter, but it didn't went through, since the phone had been switched off because they were doing some renovation. The air traffic controller could not call pilot direct because it's against the rule to contact pilot to inform them that they should change the way they are going, or they will collide. After a few minutes, the teacup keep beeping, warning the pilot that they should rise. Then Peter succeed to let the other flight, which came in between 2 other person. So he came back to these 2 Russian and DHL plane to try to help them. Upon arriving, he realized that these 2 planes will collide. So what Peter did, he told the Russian the Russian plane to dive. Then he didn't remember that the DHL pilot is on the hold, so he didn't give the DHL pilots any command on what to do. And the tick-up on the DHL pilot, it's telling the pilot to dive. So at one point they dived and they were at the same level, the same attitude. So instead of Peter avoiding the accident and the disaster, actually created a mess. If the Russian pilot would listen for tick-up, it would be okay. But since Peter told him to dive, the Russian pilot disengaged the autopilot and started diving. The tick-up didn't stop sounding warning. So the pilot called again Peter, and Peter told him maintain the attitude. It's okay. But the Peter what he doesn't realize is that there is a DHL plane on the same attitude which was supposed to pass over each other. So, and the pilot is on the hold. Both planes keep receiving the warning, but since the air traffic controller is the one giving them the guidelines, they had no otherwise. Almost leaving Germany on the edge of the German border and Switzerland. That when the tick-up warned, and the Russian pilot started seeing it so close, and it is the same line with them. So what did they do? They started panicking. Within a minute, a plane appeared. A DHL plane from far came in the picture. The Russian pilot tried everything they could. They tried to leave the plane, and the DHL pilot tried everything to dive as much as possible. But it was too late. What happened? The DHL plane, the tail of DHL plane came and break the Russian plane into two pieces, which led the plane to go down, like it falls down like a stone. And in the process of falling, there were people who were falling from the plane. You see, there was those students who were sitting immediately where the plane was cut into twice by the DHL plane. And unfortunately, no one survived. They all failed, burned. Actually, majority of the people were collected into pieces. People were given like one hand or something like that. The DHL plane went ahead to continue on the journey for 2 minutes. And unfortunately, it also crashed and killed all 2 pilots on the board. So, Peter all this time is busy trying to help other plane. When he came back to the monitor, he tried to call in. He called once, twice, but there was no answer. And that's when he realized that the biggest fear, the biggest nightmare for every air traffic controller have happened. Where they went ahead and do the investigation, that's when they realized that things went wrong from the beginning of the journey. So Peter went ahead. He was not jailed. He was actually not sentenced or charged in anything. But unfortunately, he couldn't go back to work there. It was so painful for him that he ended up never working again as an air traffic controller. It's a sad story, But it is what it is. Bye.